Welcome everybody to today's webinar, and today I will be joined by Tuan. Tuan, good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Jan. Doing well?
I'm doing fantastic. Let me see if I can share my screen so we can get that out of our way as a starting point. Um, I always forget with Google Slides where the button is. I'll just click the View menu. Is my slide visible on your end, Tuan?
Yeah, it looks like it. Mobile app development. I see it up.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, again, welcome everybody, and good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to yet another webinar today. Tuan is going to be presenting because Sean is taking a week off. It's actually his birthday today, in case you speak to him. Unlike myself, he's a very smart guy, and he takes off on his birthday. So that's always a very smart thing to do. If you do have any questions during the webinar, then feel free to post them in the questions channel. I'm guessing there will be quite a few questions, as mobile app development covers quite a bit. And today we are going to really focus on showing actual examples. There will be a little bit of code because, hey, this is a tech webinar. So we are showing how things are done. This will also be referring back to the previous mobile app development webinar, which you can find on the archive pages. So feel free if you need a basic overview of how to build and compile to native to go back to that archive. But perhaps Tuan will be touching on that briefly as well. So today, webinar number 62, mobile application development, and really looking at a couple of real life examples. So this will also give you a pretty good feel of what kind of applications other companies are building out there. So we're going to be looking at three real applications that are being deployed to customers. And as you can imagine, there are a few hundred applications today that are being deployed to users. Typically, business applications, extensions to business applications, but in some cases, even consumer applications, like what SIT is doing. They've built a mobile banking application using Servoy that can be used both on iPad, on tablets, so not only iPad but also Android devices, and on mobile phones. iPhone and Android are fully supported by Servoy. So we'll be diving into some real life applications, and of course, if at any point in time you ask yourself, how is this done in Servoy? Can I do this myself? Then feel free to post it on the questions channel, and we'll make sure to get to all of your questions today. We may run into some technical challenges because Tuan is going to present a couple of these applications from his mobile phone, and we haven't done that before, so bear with us as we hopefully will be able to fight those technical challenges as we go along. All right, so let's start with Royal 4. Tuan, do you want to start with the actual demo, or do you want to talk us through it first?
Let's just go through it briefly. I'm actually not going to demo this particular item, but let me just, I think there's a screenshot of it at least that you can pull up. Give me one moment here. Yes, there you go. Yep, so just a little bit of background on Royal 4. They've been working with us, and they provide warehouse management software. So one of the applications they've made is this dock scheduler application. And what it does is it allows mail carriers or other agents to request appointments and to help them deliver or pick up goods from the warehouse. So they're able to easily change and see the status of appointments, and receive push notifications if things change. This was deployed and for both Android and iOS, I believe. aside from this, there's also another application they're starting work on that's more to help them manage warehouse-related systems. It's a few slides down. And as you can see, that's everything is done with responsive designs. It's a very complex application with, tons of functionality, and it's also using lots of the built-in components from Servoy that comes out of the box ready, such as the signature that you see there, and camera and webcam integration. So that's Royal 4, and I don't have a demo per se for them. I will demo SIT, however. That's, I think, a few slides later. You can pull to that one. All right. I guess maybe at this point you could also make me presenter too.
Okay, so and are you okay? And that's on your mobile device, right, Tuan? Let's see here.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, Picus. Yes. Let's do the mobile one first. Yep.
Oh.
All right. So yes. So this application, Picus, comes from Innovative Software Solutions. They provide greenhouse horticulture production software. Now, they've worked with us to create their next generation mobile app, and this is going to help their customers be more productive in the field, be able to do things like data entry, help them manage drivers, deliveries, and confirmation of inventory, things like that. And today I'm going to share some of the functions they've built, and then some of these also integrate with the hardware of the device. And since it's mobile specific, I'm going to demo it from my phone. So let's start with this first function. I'm going to go down to data collection and schedule notes. Now, as you can see, it's very fluid, it's quick. And what they've done here with this page is they've integrated a barcode scanner directly into the device. So I'm going to try to use it to scan something. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but let me know once it loads up.
Yeah, we can see the camera and we can see a barcode coming up.
Okay, good. So this is actually, I'm looking at my computer screen right now, Jan, and I'm going to raise it up to the barcode. And as you can see, it detects a barcode and it picks up the value, right?
Yep.
And then it inputs it back to the field. I think a couple other items on here that are kind of cool is that you can actually choose from a gallery of images that you want to post. Say I want to grab this picture of my mouse for whatever reason. I can upload it, and it's there on the app. I can also remove it or use my built-in camera to take a picture as well. So. All right, so I'm actually going to try to plug in a real barcode number here, so bear with me.
So for barcode, do you typically use a camera, or would you also be able to use like a laser scanner if you had an Android device with a built-in laser scanner?
That's a great question. It looks like this component, this barcode scanner, uses the camera on the device, but yes, we can also certainly use laser type scanners as well.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
All right, so my mouse, I'm just gonna finish that note, and now it's done. Okay, so that's one small function that shows barcode scanning. This application has tons of features. I'm just going to try to demo a few of them that are related to hardware integration. The other demo I wanted to do was on the driver side. And let me just do a quick filter here. So this shows all the deliveries that are in progress or not yet opened, for a particular greenhouse. I'm going to open this one and walk us through the process for one of these, So this would be given to a delivery man, and he's gonna start his delivery. You'll notice that the application allows us to see the address, phone number, all that information. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this little map icon here, and you can see that it opens up the Google Maps application, my default map app. And then I can, as a driver, start going through the route and driving to my location. I'm gonna hit start delivery to do that. And once I get to my location, likely I want to sign and confirm that I've delivered my goods, right? So here's a little confirmation, and I'm going to sign. All right. Accept. And
Was
there.
that an actual PDF that was being displayed, Tuan?
It looks like it, yes. It's like a generated report or PDF, and allows you to sign. It's a custom component, it looks like, but very cool.
Wow, that is very cool, yeah.
And one. All right, and I've received payment. Okay, sure. All right. So this just confirms that I finished my confirmation. It's confirmed. And this is obviously a demo app, so some of the statuses aren't going to be exact. But we can also see that in this detail, we get a nice list view of what we've delivered. Yeah. All right, well, that is really it for this particular demo. Those are the two main integrations I wanted to show: the camera functionality, barcode, and signatures signing. So I'm gonna close this one. And any questions so far, Jan? You like what you see?
Well, that is very impressive. What innovative software solutions have been building. It's pretty broad and rich application with hardware integration that they have there. Cool. So you want to switch to the desktop now to continue on that end?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna quickly open up the other demo.
Okay.
Yes, if you don't mind making me, presenter. I'm gonna show my screen. All right, let me know once you see my screen.
Yeah, your screen is visible. We're looking at Portfolio Plus on your screen. So this is, I guess, a tablet simulator that you're showing now?
Yes, it's a tablet and mobile simulator. So this application comes from Strategic Information Technology, and they've partnered with us to create their next generation mobile banking product called Portfolio Plus. So the app itself includes lots of features that will help users manage their accounts, retail accounts, investments, deposits, loans, etc. So it was built in a responsive with a responsive UX in mind, and so it will actually shrink down in size, right? If I make the screen smaller, or make it bigger, you can see more, right?
Yeah, what I think is particularly cool about this application is they are using a single code base for both a compiled native application that can go to iOS devices and to Android. And they're using the very same code base to deploy it as a web browser-based application for people connecting with their browsers. This really saves a lot of development time. That you can use a single code base if you build it responsive. That can be deployed both to not only browsers but also as native compiled applications.
Yep, absolutely. And you can connect to this application from the browser, from tablets, iPhones, etc. So for the demo, I'm going to show just a few things. This is a typical account landing screen. Look at some accounts. And let's see. All right, I think we've ran into our first little snag here. I can't tell if it, oh, it opened up another screen. All right, let's try this one. There we go. All right, and this is just a sample account, so we don't actually see any user information, but typical of what you can see in an application like this. List of accounts. We can filter data. And you can filter from a certain limit, or you can do a custom filter, right? And you can actually see custom date periods. And once you do that, you also have the ability to print or export to CSV, and you'll get a nice report.
What's also nice about this application is that they are reusing an existing banking application. So imagine this: in the back office, there is a banking application that has been running for many, many years, that is proven technology, that is very solid, but really needed a more modern application and user interface. And with Servoy, SIT was able to build in a pretty short time frame a very modern user experience that for every bank is customized. So every bank has a different look and feel, as you can imagine, their own logos, their own colors. So this is multi-bank. Any bank can use this software and run it. There's a couple of short questions coming in, Tuan, that I think I should handle right now. Two actually are pretty similar. One is from Mingzu Zhao. And his question is, are all the apps you show built in the Servoy platform? And the answer is yes. So everything you're seeing here is 100% built in Servoy in NG Client. And NG Client allows you to deploy both to a browser and also to compile to a native iOS and Android application. So it's up to you and your end users how you deploy the application. All right, back to you, Tuan.
No, I think, yeah, make a very good point. You can build once and get a lot of benefits from it. The thing I like about this application is that most, if not all, the components are all come out of the box, meaning they didn't have to do too much custom work aside from styling and the colors for each of the customers, right? So built very nicely, and its architecture is great. I didn't have much more to show for this demo. I mean, obviously you can see that you can also do a lot of things, request change of addresses, typical things you might see in an application like this. Let me see, there's something else. And of course, you can do the typical transfer of accounts, things like that. I won't share that piece. I think we're actually pretty good with this demo, Jan.
Okay,
we can move on.
And then, yeah, let's dive into the last one, which is one that all of you can download. So with the Servoy mobile demo, all of you can actually go to. Do you want me to show that on the slides, Tuan, or are you going to dive into that demo as well?
I think I can dive this one into my phone too. I do have it on my device. So if you make the mobile phone presenter one more time,
okay.
I can,
yeah. So and perhaps Tuan, you can also show a little bit of code after that, because this, after all, is a tech webinar. We ship with a native mobile example on GitHub, and we'll point you to where you can download this code, so that you can see under the hood how to build these kind of applications, and you can use it as a starting point for your own applications, and build pretty cool mobile applications with hardware integration, location integration, fingerprint integration, push notifications. Is all demonstrated in this mobile app. And I think we also ship it as a compiled Android app, but not iOS, I think. Tuan, is that right?
Yeah, yes, it's available on the Android Play Store at the moment. So you can actually download the app without installing anything like Servoy Developer, and you can still run it. So
And if you
wanted
wanted
to
to
see
do the
how it
same
works.
for iOS, then all you would have to do is compile it with your own certificate, as that is a requirement of Apple. So if your question is going to be, will this also run on iOS, then the answer is yes. All the stuff you see here runs on both Android and iOS. And for you as a Servoy developer, that is going to be the same code base and the same APIs to integrate with the hardware devices.
Yeah, so this app is mostly a demo. We've gone over this in one other webinar in the past, and you can go back to the archives to look at that and see more of the code in general. Since then, we've added some new hardware integrations with fingerprint, file system, and allowing you to look at network information, amongst other things, such as barcode scanner, which I don't have on this app. And this one I can show you. So this is a file system example, and I'm gonna load from a file. You can see that it picks up the text. If we quit this application and go to the file manager, I can actually show you on my file system where this is located. Yeah, so here we can see that it created a test file, and I can actually open it up, and I can make some changes. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back to the application, and I can load. So right there you see that it actually integrates directly with the file system on the device, and you can load files, make changes to files, etc. I did it for a very simple example, right, on a single notepad item, a text item, but you can imagine doing this for more complex things. And then we have the standard media, which I already kind of demoed with Picus. Integration with camera, location. You can pick up where you are, GPS, get coordinates, things like that. Okay, should we dive into the code a bit, Jan? Just to see where users can access.
That would be pretty cool. And while you fire up your code, let me briefly finish the slides, and then maybe showing one or two of those integration items, how you would actually write the code in Servoy, and where to get started would be pretty cool. Yeah. So while you fire up Servoy Developer, I will finish the slides to recap what we just saw. So the innovative software solutions application, very cool, and thanks to that team for allowing us to show their application. A lot of functions in it, integrating with their enterprise application that is also browser based and built on Servoy. In their case, on top of a progress application and database. Servoy also allows you to build and reuse a progress business logic. We saw most of these screens. Barcode integration, as Tuan demoed. There is camera integration, but if you want to go laser, so let's say you have to do a lot of scanning, we also allow you to do laser type of integration. We briefly looked at Portfolio Plus from SIT, who built a great mobile banking application in just a few months, reusing an existing very solid banking platform they already have, with a nice and modern native iOS and Android and tablet application that is pretty extensive and deployed and used by multiple banks. And we also briefly looked at the mobile application, of which Tuan is going to show how to get to it, and how you can start building mobile applications today in Servoy. So let me go back here and make Tuan the presenter again. Let's see here if I get the right tab to do that. Okay, there you go, Tuan.
All right, thanks, Jan. Let me just show my screen. So if you guys have not seen our GitHub repository, I'm just showing a little link to it. This is where the code lives for that application that we just last demoed. It's SVY mobile under the Servoy link here. And what I just did was I cloned the source code, and I'm firing up Servoy developer right now. We're just going to look at how to import that code and view it. So I'm going to do that on the fly. So. And this was.
Cool. So you just go to that GitHub, you download that as an archive, and then you import the solution.
Yep, importing the solution, and now I have the solution. I'm just gonna launch it. So this is a little bit more in-depth look at the code. And you can see all the forms that I created, fingerprint examples. So we'll look at the file system example. I think that's new. And I'll look at also the file system one. I'll open both of those. So if you look at the fingerprint example, the form is fairly simple. There's a check authentication button to check if authentication is available, and a show authentication to show the fingerprint confirmation, right? So we'll look at both. I clicked on the wrong one. Let's see, is available. So to check if it's available, we can call our built-in plugin service, the PhoneGap fingerprint. This package comes built in with Servoy. It's an extra package that you can install under the Servoy package manager. And once you have it, you'll have access to this API. You can call this method is available, right? And if it's available, it's going to return a callback that says success message. Otherwise, if it's a failure, then you know you don't have fingerprint hardware, so you won't be able to use it. If you do have it, then you can, of course, show the authentication, use the secret password and ID, and show the configuration message. And once you show it, if they have successfully authenticated with their finger, you'll get an authentication success callback, and so that's where we print out the message: they successfully authenticated or you failed, right? So it's as simple as that for fingerprint. And for the file system, let me just open up the form as well. It's just a few fields that you'll need to pass in the file name, and you can enter the contents of the file, that whatever you want to place in there. Then there's a load and save button. So if we look at the load and save, starting with the load, we're able to get at a particular directory. In this case, I put in a check for both iOS and Android. And if it's not Android, we use a particular documents directory, and this is specified under the plugin documentation. So we'll know where to pick up the file from, what the file name is, the directory, and there's a read callback and a read error. So if we're able to load correctly, it will execute our callback, and it'll update the file content, which is the field right here with whatever we find in that file, right? Whatever data we have. The other method is the save, and again, we're going to go to the documents directory and look to see if that file exists. No, I'm sorry, to see if we want to write to it. So we just need the file name, the directory, and the content, right? Whatever you've placed in that field. And those are really the main two calls, write to file and read from file. There was one other new item, which is the network plugin that I didn't think I demoed, but all it does is it gives you IP address information on whatever network you've connected to. And that one, it's fairly simple API as well. You can get carrier IP, or you can get Wi-Fi, carrier, and proxy information. So those are the 3 API calls. And here I'm just printing out the callbacks and placing those into a field. So a lot of this is dependent on a Servoy bridge to the PhoneGap wrapper. And like I mentioned, this can be gotten from our Servoy package manager. And I'll just show developers how to do that. It's under NG services, and it's called PhoneGap. So here I have the package already installed. And if you haven't installed one before, you can hit the little plus, and that's it. That's really all it takes. Much of the documentation for PhoneGap can also be done here directly from our GitHub page, and I encourage developers to go there and take a look. Our wiki has documentation on how to set up things for the camera, fingerprint, and it has more in-depth documentation on how to do some of these kind of calls. All right, is there any questions?
That looks pretty useful, Tuan, and it's good that you point to the documentation. Yes, anybody wants to get started building mobile applications, this is a good place to start with the sample and the documentation on GitHub. Meanwhile, if you have any last-minute questions, then make sure to post them right now. You now have the main Servoy mobile guru in the room with Tuan presenting with us. A couple of questions coming in here, Tuan.
Okay.
Question from Ming Zhao: can you set a splash screen for your mobile app?
Yes, you can. It might have shown really quick. For the last demo, there was a splash screen. It was a bit orange kind of icon for Servoy, but yes, the short answer is yes.
Cool. And Juan Carlos says, if a package that I need for the example solution is not installed, will we get a warning?
Say that again. What warning?
If a package that I need for the example solution is not installed, will we get a warning?
Yes. When you run it, it's going to shout an error at you. So if you did decide to download this particular solution, though, it should automatically install the PhoneGap package for you. So normally that wouldn't happen. But yes, if you're starting from scratch and you're trying to use the APIs, it will give you an error message.
Yep. Yeah, so Juan, typically when you install a solution, the solution knows what packages it's referring to, and it will actually download them automatically for you. So it's just a matter of clicking a few buttons. And again, guys, we encourage you to download these samples for yourself and try it. The best way to learn, in my opinion, is by downloading the examples and getting started with it. Follow-up question from Ming Zhao is, can you also set the icon of the application on your device?
Yes, you can. That's more on the PhoneGap wrap side, but you can certainly do that. Both Picus and strategic information, those demos for those applications, they have their own specific icons.
Okay, and where can we find that documentation? Where do we begin?
Great question. If you go back to the mobile page, there's a wiki on it. And let me just bring you up to there. So the wiki includes a lot of information, but there's also this little guide I put up. And within the guide, it'll walk you through a good chunk of the steps. But there's also an app template zip in the guide that shows the structure of how you need to place your icons. You can look at that for a more closer look. Okay?
Cool. So the phone app guide is the place to start if you're going to compile to a native iOS and or Android, and it will lead you step by step through those settings and provide you with a template. All right, with that, we've had most questions and the time's also up. Feel free if any other questions pop up in your mind to head over to forum.servoy.com and post any of those questions. Let me actually put up that I think we always end with a slide with those items. Let's see here if I have that. Let's go back here and put that slide up while we end the presentation. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this last slide recaps what Twan just showed, in case you want to read it for your reference. So anything you can do in NG client, you can then also use on mobile devices, both Apple and Android-based devices. Business logic is in JavaScript, just like you're used to in Servoy. From a single code base, you can do this. You can do hot code pushes to mobile devices, and the PhoneGap bridge allows you to go to the native hardware on your device. And we went through the documentation of that already. Okay, last but not least, the links text series where you find the archive. You will find this recording there shortly after today's session.